Welcome back to Orage Technologies. Did you know that over 30,000 websites are hacked every day? Web vulnerabilities are a constant threat in the digital world, putting our personal data, financial information, and even entire business at risk. Today, we are diving into the top 10 most common vulnerabilities that criminals exploit to wreak havoc online. From SQL injection to cross-site scripting, we'll break down each vulnerability, explain how they work, and show you what you can do to protect yourself. Stay tuned because understanding these threats is the first step to defending against them. Let's start with one of the most notorious web vulnerabilities, SQL injection. SQL injection attacks occur when an attacker inserts malicious SQL code into a web application's input field to gain unauthorized access to the database. This can allow hackers to view, modify, or delete data, potentially exposing sensitive information. Now let's see how it works. Exploiting input fields. Attackers exploit input fields like login forms or search boxes by entering SQL commands instead of regular data. Second, executing malicious commands. The application, if not properly sanitized, will execute these commands, giving the attackers access to the database. Impact. SQL injection can lead to data breaching, data loss, and even complete takeover of a web application. How to protect it? Use prepared statements and parameterized queries. Implement input validation and sanitization. Use a web application's firewall. Next up is cross-site scripting, XSS, a vulnerability that affects countless websites worldwide. XSS attacks involve injecting malicious scripts into web pages that are then executed by unsuspecting users' browser. This can lead to stolen cookies, session hijacking, and more. How it works? Injecting scripts. Attackers inject scripts into web pages via input fields, comment sections, or URLs. Executing on client side. When user visit the compromised page, their browsers execute the malicious script. Impact. XSS can lead to data theft, user impersonation, and defacement of website. Protection tips. Use content security policy, sanitize user input, escape output in web applications. Third is cross-site request forgery. Cross-site request forgery is another common web vulnerability that tricks users into performing actions they didn't intend. CSRF attacks force authenticated users to execute unwanted actions on a web application, such as changing their email address or making a transaction. How it works? Crafting malicious requests. Attackers create malicious requests that appears legitimate. Second, exploiting user sessions. When a user clicks a malicious link or visits a compromised website, the attacker's request is executed under the user's credentials. Impact. CSRF can lead to unauthorized actions, account compromise, and data manipulation. Protection tips. Implement anti-CSRF tokens. Use the same site attribute for cookies. Validate the origin of request. Fourth, security misconfiguration. Security misconfiguration is one of the most prevalent vulnerabilities, often resulting from improperly configured security settings. How it works? Default configurations. Leaving default settings unchanged can expose applications to attacks. Second, insecure permissions. Incorrect file and directory permissions can lead to unauthorized access. Impact. Security misconfiguration can lead to data leaks, unauthorized access, and exploitation of other vulnerabilities. Protection tips. Regularly update and patch systems. Disable unnecessary features and services. Conduct security audits and penetration testing. Fifth, sensitive data exposure. Sensitive data exposure occurs when applications fail to protect sensitive information like credit card numbers or personal data. How it works? Lack of encryption. Storing or transmitting data without encryption makes it vulnerable. Second, ensure APIs. Exposing APIs without proper security measures can lead to data leak. Impact. Sensitive data exposure can result in identified theft, financial loss, and legal issues. Protection tips. Use HTTPS for secure data transmission. Implement strong encryption for data at rest and in transit. Secure API endpoints with authentication and authorization. 6. Broken authentication. Broken authentication vulnerabilities allow attackers to compromise passwords, session tokens, or exploit other flaws to assume other users' identity. How it works? Weak password. Use weak or predictable passwords can lead to unauthorized access. Second, session hijacking. Hackers steal session tokens to impersonate users. Impact. Broken authentication can lead to authorized access, data breaches, and account takeovers. Protection tips. Implement multi-factor authentication. Use strong password policies. Secure session management. 7. Insecure deserialization. Insecure deserialization occurs when untrusted data is used to manipulate serialized objects, leading to remote code execution or other attacks. How it works. Manipulating serialized data. Attackers modify serialized objects to inject malicious data. Second, executing malicious code. The application deserializes the data, executing the attacker's code. Impact. Insecure deserialization can lead to code execution, denial of service, and data manipulation. Protection tips. Validate and sanitize serialized data. Use data formats that do not allow code execution. Implement integrity checks for serialized objects. 8. Using components with known vulnerabilities. Using components with known vulnerabilities involves deploying outdated or vulnerable software libraries and frameworks. How it works. Outdated libraries. Using outdated libraries with known vulnerabilities can expose applications to attackers. Exploit vulnerabilities. Attackers target these vulnerabilities to compromise systems. Impact. Using vulnerable components can lead to data breach, system compromise, and exploitation of other vulnerabilities. Protection tips. Regularly update and patch libraries. Use vulnerability scanning tools. Monitor security advisors for third-party components. 9. Insufficient logging and monitoring. Insufficient logging and monitoring can lead to undetected attacks and prolonged exposure of vulnerabilities. How it works. Logs. Failure to log critical events make it difficult to detect attacks. Inadequate monitoring. Without proper monitoring, attacks may go unnoticed. Impact. Insufficient logging and monitoring can lead to undetected breaches, data loss, and compliance issues. Protection tips. Implement comprehensive logging practices. Monitor logs for suspicious activities. Use security information and event management systems. 10. XML External Entities. Attacks exploit vulnerabilities in XML parsers to gain unauthorized access or execute malicious code. How it works. Injection external entities. Attackers inject external entities into XML data, accessing files or executing code. The parser processes the entities, allowing access to files or code execution. Impact. XXC attacks can lead to data exposure, denial of service, and code execution. Protection tip. Use secure XML parsers, disable external entities processing, validate and sanitize XML input. Web vulnerabilities are a constant threat in our digital world, but understanding them is the first step to protecting against them. By being aware of these common vulnerabilities and implementing proper security measures, you can help safeguard your website and data from malicious attacks. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe for more cybersecurity insights, and let us know in the comment which vulnerability surprised you the most. Thanks for watching.